one thing that is more important than the way you cut down a tree, and that's the way you file the cutters of your saw chain. A dull and improperly filed saw chain can become a lethal weapon instead of the precision tool it is meant to be. It's so easy to do it right the first time. The basic special tool used in filing any saw chain cutter is this aluminum file holder. At each end, there's a small thumb screw connected to a U-bolt that holds the standard 7/32 inch round file. The thumb screws are tightened evenly to secure the file and prevent slippage between the file and the holder. It's simple, it's quick, and it's efficient. This enlarged demonstration model of a sawtooth or a cutter is used to show the various cutting edges that will be filed. This is called the top plate angle, this is the side plate angle, and this is the top plate cutting angle. Basically, there are two distinct types of saw chain cutters. The one on the left is a semi-chisel cutter, and the one on the right is a super chisel cutter. The file holder has several sets of markings for 30 and 35 degrees, and these lines refer to the filing angle required for the top plate angle of each cutter of the chain. It is held at 35 degrees for the semi-chisel and 30 degrees for the super chisel. When you are filing the super chisel cutter, the file handle should be down 10 degrees from the horizontal axis. Note the use of a safety glove to move the chain along the filing bar. In this top view, you can see the 30-degree angle which is required for filing this super chisel cutter. The file is moved in a forward direction only and lifted clear of the tooth for the return stroke. In a lower view, we see the side plate angle of the cutting tooth, which must be 75 degrees to the horizontal plane. The top plate cutting angle must be 60 degrees to this plane. It's really easy when you hold the file and file holder at the 30 degrees across the cutter and the file handle 10 degrees down. By doing this, the correct sharpening angles for the super chisel cutter will be maintained and eliminate a hooked shape to the cutter. The semi-chisel cutter requires a slightly different technique. The file is held directly horizontal to the direction you are filing across the top plate. Again, only the forward direction of filing is used, and the file is lifted clear on its return stroke. The top plate of a semi-chisel cutter is filed at an angle of 35 degrees across the chain. In this lower angle, you can see the cutting edge of the side plate and the necessary filing angle. The second operation that is required when sharpening your saw chain is the filing of the depth gauge. This depth gauge tool rests on the chain and is calibrated to allow the filing of the depth gauge to exactly 25 thousandths of an inch. It is most important that the depth gauge be filed no more than this amount, since anything in excess of this increases the possibility of dangerous kickbacks without increasing the cutting speed in any way. The depth gauge should be filed at the same point on the bar. Check depth gauge after every filing. Place depth gauge tool on the chain. With flat file, level off portion of depth gauge that extends above the slot. Repeat for each cutter. The leading corner of the depth gauge must be rounded off to match the original shape. Incorrect depth gauge setting causes slow cutting speed, rapid wear on cutter bottoms, increased incident of kickback, white fingers vibration, excessive heel wear. Proper depth gauge setting will give you speed, smoothness, durability, reduce kickback. In this top angle, you can see the top part of the depth gauge which is being filed. We've used feeler gauges to show correctly filed depth gauges on this chain. And in this demonstration, you can see how the depth gauges on another chain have been incorrectly filed to 40 thousandths of an inch. This testing machine was developed in New Brunswick to show that there is no advantage in cutting ability or speed when depth gauge on any chain is filed more than 25 thousandths of an inch. In this first example, incorrect depth gauge settings are used. Note that the RPMs are indicated at about 9,500, and as the chain hits the wood, it begins to chatter, causing substantial vibration in the cutting process. It takes exactly 4 seconds to cut through. Now let's take another look at that. Start up to 9,500 RPM, and as the chain hits the wood, it begins to vibrate and could cause a kickback. Now, watch the difference when a chain with correctly filed depth gauges is used. Notice how smoothly the chain goes through the wood. No vibration or indication of possible kickback. The cutting time is also 4 seconds for the complete cut, and there's absolutely no significant change in RPMs from that of the incorrectly filed chain. But it's smooth, efficient, and safe. So do it right, file it right, and get top production and efficiency safely.